Hello, and welcome to my part 2 example 2 video for COMP4004 Assignment 4. I'll start off by showing my Git URL. It's the same one as Assignment 3 again. I'm going to go quickly over so we're in the original Cucumber branch. Going over my commits, commit history real quick. Adding verifications for scenarios, adding more verification tests. Updating the logs so they can be better shown in tests, etc. Okay, so I'll start off by making a new directory called part2 example 2. Going into that new folder that I just created and cloning the repository into this folder, which is empty. Then I'm gonna check out the original Cucumber branch. And perfect. So what we just cloned into was desktop A4 demo part 2 example 2. So I'm gonna open that up with Eclipse. Okay. So we're gonna switch workplaces to other desktop A4 demo. Perfect. Okay. Delete this. And open up the project that we just cloned. So it was in desktop A4 demo part 2 example 2. This one right here. So opening it up. And so I'll first show my feature file, just called original cucumber.feature. And this was the one that was relating to example 1. So we're gonna remove that because it's irrelevant for this video. So this is for example 2, where we have 2 students registering for a course simultaneously while another student deregisters. So just like example 1, we have steps for setting up whatever is required. So creating the course C2 with cap size of 3, creating this 4 students, student 1, student 2, student 3, and student 4. Logging in as student 1, selecting and registering for the course, doing the same exact thing for student 2. So we have student 1 and student 2 registered for the course. Then logging in as student 3 and 4 and only selecting the course because we only want them to register and not select and register. Then over here is where we have our concurrent operation occurring, is when students 3 and student 4 attempt to register and student 2 attempts to deregister for the course, for course 65481, which is created. Then we know that the student who's attempting to register, he's always going to be deregistered because deregistering does not depend on a cap size. You can always deregister for a course, so that should always succeed. And at least one of the other students, student 3 and student 4, will have registered successfully. That will depend on whether or not student 2 deregistered first. If student 2 deregistered first or second, then both of them will be able to register. Anyways, to show you my step definitions on how the concurrent part is occurring. So just like how it was done in example 1, we have now a new class, a runnable class called deregister student, which basically does the exact same thing as the register student runnable class. However, it does the specific commands that are required for deregistering his student. So before we had here register for course, now we have register course. That's the only difference from the register for student, where it says register for course. So same process. Create the threads, start the threads at the same time simultaneously wait for all of them to finish, then add their specific outputs. And then for the checks that we're doing, student 2 will be deregistered. If we go to that here, so basically here we're checking that there's only, the number of success messages was at least one, because it can be one or two. We don't know which one it is. And we check that the student with student number 2 doesn't have any courses. The number of registered courses that they have is 0. So we're doing 2 checks for that. And these 2 should always succeed, no matter how many times we run original cucumber. So the expected behavior for this test is the following. We have 6 possible outcomes. Either student 2 will deregister first, then student 3 registers, and followed by student 4 registered. And in the end, in the course, we're going to have student 1, student 3, and student 4. Or same exact thing, except the order is different. Student 4 first, then student 3. In the end, we'll have student 1, student 4, and student 3. Or we can have student 3 registering first, followed by student 2 deregistering and student 4 registering. And in the end, the same thing. We're going to have those 3 students, student 1, student 3, and student 4 in the course. And likewise for this, it's just the order changed. However, here is where we have some failures. That's when both students who are attempting to register before student 2 deregisters. So here we have S3 registering, then S4 registering. Since that's the case, we're going to have student 1 in the course, student 2 in the course originally. Then student 3 will be in the course. And then remember, the cap size of the course is 3. So now we have 3 people in the course. So when student 4 attempts to register, he's going to be basically the 4th student to try to be in the course, which will not work because the course is full, and therefore this will fail. And then after student 2 registers at the end successfully. And same thing with here, except the order changed. Anyways, now let's look at the logs while we run this cucumber test 5 times. I'm gonna delete everything so we can see clearly what's happening. And run number 1. Run number 2. I'll just write them after. Okay. So let's do run number 1 first. So you can see it's passed. Wait. This is running the wrong one. Probably from my previous, I had a console, oh wait, let me remove this. Probably had a console open from my previous demo video. So we're gonna run this one. It seems to be running. I think the output, yeah, see, it's looking at part 2 example 1's path. So I just have to change that to look at the correct path, which is part 2 example 2. This is the one we cloned. That was in source, test.cucumber, original.cucumber.feature. There. Now it should successfully, yeah, now it's actually getting this feature file. Before it was getting the one from part 1 example 1's folder. Anyways, I'm gonna not count this because the log file was full. Okay, so now this is gonna be our first run. Okay, and we can see this is actually pointing to the correct one. Then 2 students have deregistered, etc. So the log file, we can see that here the very last course operation that occurred logged the following. So we know that student 1 registered, student 3 registered, and student 4 registered, meaning that student 2 deregistered first successfully. So this will be our first test. First run. So student 1, student 3, and student 4 are in the course, which is this one or this one, one of these two, where the first student 2 deregisters. Now running it the second time. Oh, I didn't delete the log files, but it's okay. We can just go to the very bottom. So here, in the end, we have student 1, the same exact thing. Student 1, student 3, and student 4 are the students who are in the course in the end. and we can look up a bit that student 2 once again deregistered first, student 3 registers afterwards, register for course success, and student 4 register for course success. So student 3 then 4. Running it third time. Let me delete the log files. Okay. So here it's not the same because now we have student 4 registering before student 3, but in the end the people in the course are still student 1, student 3, and student 4. So this specific outcome was relating to this one here where student 4 registers before student 3. Number 5, 4. Student 1, student 3, then student 4. Same thing. Except this one, we can see that student 3 registers for the course first, then student 2 deregisters for the course, then student 4 registers for the course. So if we look at our over here, this is how it was. This is what happened. What happened was student 3 first registered, student 3 registered, student 2 deregistered, then student 4 registered. So far we've covered these 3 possible outcomes. There's no way that we're going to be able to show all of them in just 5 runs. However, hopefully we can cover as many as possible. Okay. Oops, didn't delete the logs. And here once again we have student 1, student 4, student 3. And if we look at the registration success, what happened? We have student 2 deregistering for the course, then student 4 registering for the course, then student 3 registering for the course. And we've already covered that possibility. I'll run it just one more time, just in case we get lucky. And these are completely non-deterministic behaviors because, as you can see, it's not always the same outcome every single time. It's completely dependent on who registers first, and we don't know which person registers first. And we got this again: student 1, student 3, and student 4. Yep. So that is all for this video.